You may be seeing, Collin, I don't need any multivitamins for my animals because my animals get all of their nutrition from their diet. That's great, but for 95% of people, we're about to reveal one of the biggest mistakes we often see when it comes to feeding your reptile amphibians. And that, of course, is supplements. So, either the incorrect supplement or the incorrect frequency. These are two huge things. So, incorrect supplements. So, for example, let's just run through it. Let's use a bearded dragon as an example. That's one of our most popular reptiles. So, the correct supplements were typically based on Tye-Dyed Iguana's personal recommendations. Tye-Dyed Iguana generally recommends a calcium supplement with a multivitamin supplement, a calcium supplement daily, multivitamin supplement weekly. Now, this is kind of a general suggestion. So you may have your own opinions on your supplements that work for you, and that's great, but this is just what works for us as best as a store. Now, I'm not gonna get into the nitty-gritty of what supplements for what animals, but here are some general guidelines for you. So as far as multivitamins, so we'll bring out the Reptiles by Zoomed and the Reptiles by Repcal. Now, these are a multivitamin supplement. So these are going to have all of the minor and trace nutrients required for your reptile's diet. You may be seeing, Collin, I don't need any multivitamins for my animals because my animals get all of their nutrition from their diet. That's great, but for 95% of people, the diet they're receiving in captivity is not going to be as nutritionally variable and dense as it is in the wild. So we have to supplement. There's two main categories of multivitamin we usually sell here at the store. One is Reptiles. That is a beta-carotene based supplement. If you want to read about that or learn about that, we've done some other excellent videos on reptile supplements. And then the second is Reptiles. So the Reptiles has preformed retinol, aka vitamin A. As a general rule of thumb, herbivorous species or omnivorous species, we provide Reptiles, and then for pure insectivores or pure carnivores, Reptiles. Now, when it comes to multivitamins, generally we recommend a dosage of once a week. These products happen to be both powdered, so it's usually easy to just dust this on a salad like Parmesan cheese. Having said that, if you really like Parmesan cheese like I do, just like a dusting, like a bundt cake, you know, like you're frosting a bundt cake, do not pile it on. But once a week is generally gonna be fine. We've had it before where people get a supplement and they're like, oh, I'm gonna put this on every single feeding. Is not a good scenario, especially like, for example, in the instance of the Reptiles where it's got a lot of retinol in it. You're feeding this every day, it can definitely lead to a toxicity of vitamin A. So, multivitamins, generally, once per week, unless recommended different by your exotic veterinarian. All right, next category of supplements. These, of course, are our calcium supplements. Calcium, one of the most important nutrients for reptiles and amphibians. We know that reptiles use ultraviolet radiation for the sun to synthesize vitamin D3 in the skin to digest and absorb calcium in the diet. However, so having said that, there's a couple different types of calcium we carry. We carry as with D3 or without D3, and then we also have Calcium Plus from our friends at Repashy. Now, this is a bit of point of contention of debate. However, what we recommend here at the Tye-Dyed Iguana is, for most species, there are a couple species that I would recommend differently against just because of their sensitivity to it. But for most species, if you're dusting your food about 3 times a week, calcium with D3 is going to be your go-to calcium on the bugs and the greens. And then as far as that goes, certain species, we generally recommend like a low D3 or a no D3. That would be like amphibians and chameleons. But for 99% of stuff, with D3 is going to be your go-to calcium. As far as other calciums on the market, Zilla also makes a calcium spray. This product though, some people claim that I've seen it over the years where they're like, my bearded dragon doesn't want to eat anything that's dusted, or my lizard doesn't want to eat anything that's dusted. This product can be used, it's mainly used though like on salad and greens. It doesn't really have a good adhesion to insects, so that can be a downside. If you spray this on your crickets, they are probably going to die. But if your bearded dragon has a really particular palate, you could try a spray calcium. But I believe this is a calcium gluconate. Don't quote me on that, I'm not a doctor. Which is a little bit different calcium as far as absorption is concerned. Some of the animals in my experience, like they find the taste a little bit like bitter or like, you know, non-palatable. So that is an option we have, but in general, we tend to stick with powdered supplements here at the store. Now, Calcium Plus. Calcium Plus is an all-in-one calcium product, so this means it is a combination of a calcium and dilute amount of multivitamin. Generally with Calcium Plus, you can use it almost every feeding. They make several formulas. They make like a low D, high D, no D. But in general, the standard Calcium Plus is the one I would most recommend unless you have a lot of experience and you know exactly what you're doing. This way you don't have to worry about overdosing supplements. So, when it comes to overdosing supplements, Like I said, incorrect frequency, incorrect type. One of the biggest things too, if you're in doubt, you need to ask somebody qualified. So for example, this is Vitamin A Plus by Reptiles. So this is a preformed retinol supplement. This is specifically made for dart frogs and mantellas or animals that have a specific health requirement for vitamin A. So very frequently, a lot of the vets in our area, if there's a leopard gecko that has persistent eye issues and things like that, vitamin A deficiency or hypovitaminosis A can commonly lead to ocular issues. So therefore, sometimes they'll recommend, hey, go to Tye-Dyed Iguana, get a bottle of vitamin A plus, use it on this dosage. So with this product, you either need to know what you're doing or have a professional give you a recommendation. If you're just using this for general use on dart frogs or mantellas, things like that have that special dietary need for it, twice a month. The directions say something different. That's just our opinion here at the store. You're more than welcome to have your own opinion, but that's just our opinion and our experience. So with supplements, wrong type, you need to make sure you have the correct type and then the right frequency. If you're overdoing it or way underdoing it, that's going to lead to major issues. So when it comes to underdoing it, let's not forget, of course, the big, bad, scary guy in the room we hear about all the time in the reptile community, even though it's not an official formal diagnosis anymore, but we all know it as metabolic bone disease. So metabolic bone disease, of course, is from having an incorrect diet, incorrect lighting, combination issue, but very commonly when I see an animal that says, oh, it's got metabolic bone disease, in most situations, and not all situations, but the vast majority of situations, that animal was either never provided the correct supplements or provided them at way too infrequent of a dosage that is correct for the animal in captivity. So that can be not the cause, but a major contributing factor in the development of metabolic bone disease. If you have any questions at all about the correct supplements, the right supplements, what to feed, what not to feed, is this the right size? Be sure to stop in store, talk to us, or drop us a message online. Thanks guys, and I hope you have an excellent week.